I wanted to show off some games I've been able to play since having my cataract surgery in my left eye. It's been really exciting to be able to load up Steam and not think about what compromises I'll have to make in the games that I have had to choose in the last few months, where it's things like XCOM or Chaos Gate that are methodical and turn-based and can take all the time in the world that I need. But now I can play ones that are a little more active, like Elite Dangerous and iRacing, Spelunky, Void War. And I've tried playing some first-person games just to see if I could get along with those, but it's still pretty difficult. I am still legally blind. The definition for that is 2200 or less than 20 degrees field of vision, and I have 7 degrees field of vision, which is less than 10% of total. First up is Elite Dangerous from 2014. I played this game about 700 hours, so I'm fairly used to the UI, but I still enjoy how readable the text is, whether it's white or that bright amber against the darker shade in the background. Since returning to Elite, it's been really encouraging to learn that the developer, Frontier Developments, are making updates to it with new ships, new features, stuff with the squadrons, having essentially a guild to make it more of a multiplayer game, and that the player base is coming back. I am using the advanced docking computer here and 99% of the time because it's just so convenient. It's not something that's labeled as an accessibility feature, and it does take up one of your optional internal slots, but the safety of my vessel and others and not ramming into the station going through the slot is better on my bank balance and my ego, really, to go in and out of these places safely. Since having the cataract surgery, I thought I'd try to harken back to some old PC games that I loved that got me in the space games in the first place, like Wing Commander and Privateer and Free Space 2, where there was a higher emphasis on combat, and I just wasn't doing a lot of that in Elite Dangerous for the last few years because of how little I was able to see. So it was a lot of trading and exploring. So I went and bought this Alliance Chieftain, added some turreted pulse guns up top, and then multi-cannons elsewhere so I can shoot with those manually fixed out the front, but I can let the system do the automatic targeting out there for the fact that, you know, I'm still gonna have a hard time finding some of the targets and keeping damage on them consistent. So this at least allows me to give me another heads up to where I need to shoot, where the enemy is at, and I can just kind of track towards them. I am using track IR5 throughout this, but in combat, it doesn't seem like I actually use my head all that much. I'm mostly just staring at the radar down below to understand, you know, if the target is ahead, behind, above, below, you know, all of the things you need to know in 3D space. And then when I get kind of close, sometimes I'll pan my head far enough to where I think they are, so I can identify the red triangles around them and track them and shoot them. All of the targets I'm going after here are bounty hunting missions that were given to me in my home system. They wanted me to go to the nearby star and hunt down some of the scum that have been plaguing this area, and I think I picked up like 7 or 8 of them. And my combat rating is only competent, but in each of the missions it lets you know which threat it'll be, and everything under about 4 or 5 seems attainable and tackleable for me at this state. Again, I just haven't been doing a lot of shooting of other ships, so getting to all the systems and, you know, remembering where I bound everything to for prioritizing my weapons or shield systems is still coming back to me, but it's a lot of fun to go out here and hunt them down and blow them up. I know it's not a new feature, but it's kind of new to me. It's these limpet drones. Before, you had to go around with your cargo scoop and manually float up to every object that you wanted to scoop into your cargo hold, but having these little drones go out there and get them for you is really, really cool. Home sweet home. It's a very pretty blue, isn't it? I don't know why I picked this station other than it's Empire and I have high standing. It's not even that close to the star, honestly, but I always like flying back here, even if it takes an extra few minutes. Maybe it's surprising to some, but Elite Dangerous is one of the more accessible games for me, just based on the color palette. It's inherently in dark mode. There are so many HUD elements that let me know which station I'm going to, the system I'm going to jump at, the target I'm looking for. All that stuff is conveniently laid out, and I love the amount of contrast that they have throughout the UI. The game I've probably been missing and anticipating the most in the hopes that my surgery would work out well is iRacing. And I haven't been doing a lot of multiplayer just yet. I do feel a little rusty after being away from it for a few months. So I've been racing against the AI, mostly in the Super Formula 23, and I'm here at Fuji in the Honda-powered car. For whatever reason, the Honda is faster for me than the Toyota, but I know they're totally the same. One element that I was hoping would go away after my surgery is the driving line, but as you can see here, it's still rather thick, it's rather colorful, and it's here to stay. I really wanted to get rid of it, of course, because I know I would be faster without the driving line if I had better eyesight, but I still have crappy vision. I just happen to see through two eyes that are terrible. A reminder that the driving line that's on the screen is an accessibility feature that I need to do sim racing at all. If it was mandated to me that I couldn't use it for a driving series or in a game, then I just wouldn't play that game. In fact, I haven't picked up Le Mans Ultimate because the driving line on that is not sufficient in all lighting types, weather types. It's also dynamic. I'd rather have a static one like this because it's easier to plus and minus my braking zones and apexes based on the chunks of color that are there. You know, not all of the braking zones for this are accurate in the formula cars or sports cars, but through practice, I can go at it enough to know that, okay, it's actually one chevron deeper or below or before or something like that. Like, it's just another reference that you would use for the meter markers or yard markers. I'm just using them as a line on the ground. Having the line on also allows me to move my eyes a little bit and return back to where I need to be. So I can look at competitors, sometimes even the apex, look at the relative menu, and that is a very safe thing for me to have, especially when I'm in multiplayer racing. Obviously, I'm still racing here against the AI. For whatever reason on social media, there's always someone that doesn't understand that I have a disability that prevents me from turning the line off. I raced in sim racing for over 20 years without a driving line at all in games like Grand Prix Legends and Sports Car GT, Grand Prix 3, Grand Prix 4, AC, R Factor 1, 2, GTR 2. The driving lines in that either weren't there or were really crappy, so I didn't use them and didn't need them, but things have degraded greatly, and this is, again, the only way I can drive. I really love this race, and I tinkered with the AI a lot to get it to work right. And in doing that, I turned the adaptive AI off. I like that feature if it's just a quick thing that I want to jump into, but otherwise they were speeding up and slowing down too much. So I found percentages in the fixed difficulty that worked well, 66% and I think 46% for the high and the low end in this race. It's all very exciting. I'm so happy to have had the surgery. Thank you to my surgeon, my family, my friends, my partner, everyone in the community that's been supporting me and wishing me on. You know, when I gave a short message before and after, the responses from people were absolutely awesome. You're all so lovely, and I love having all of you out there rooting for me. In the somewhat near future, about 3 months away, I'll be having a laser surgery on my left eye, which will knock out the remaining bits of the cataract that are there. I'm hoping that will improve things even more, because whenever the sun is out, I have to have sunglasses on, even if it's just a bright, cloudy day even. Things are just very, very bright in that left eye, and how they sync together with my right eye, which is also forming a cataract, is something that I'll have to have a surgery on one day, but that could be 1 or 2 years down the road for all I know. Lastly, it's just been nice to look forward to playing some games again, whether it's flying or driving or even some of the turn-based stuff. It's just a whole lot easier with the state of my vision these days after the surgery. If there are some titles that you think I'd like, put them down in the comments. They might not have accessibility stuff in there or not, but at least I can check them out, especially if they're anything adjacent to iRacing or Elite Dangerous. So thanks a lot for watching.